Well, I've always been interested in it, even like from a childhood, I guess you'd say. Whether it was actually real or not, I just thought it was kind of cool that something like that could possibly exist, although it probably didn't. I thought if it did, maybe out in the Northwest or the wilds of Russia or China or something like that. But what really the next thing of that was when the Finding Bigfoot TV show came out. And the way they did it, it was pretty interesting. I didn't really believe much of it, but we all got together and enjoyed watching it. So I guess the progression from there was, at the time I was self-employed, so I had a pretty kind of a wide open schedule, I guess you'd call it. And from the TV show, they had a thermal video of what supposedly was one of these creatures, but it was in North Carolina. And I thought, that's not very far from here. So I thought we were just trying to find something to do one day, so we went out to, it was Uwharrie National Forest, and we thought we'd go out there and try to find the stump where this thermal video was supposed to be from, just as something to do. What happened from that was we looked in a few different places and went to another spot, and we ran into a couple of guys who were all geared up to go in the woods, like they were gonna, not in a campground, they were gonna spend time in the woods. So we were, as a joke, kind of asking them, so what are y'all doing here? We thought we were in the right spot, and we got to talking, and they told us, I told them about the Finding Bigfoot and the stump, and one of the gentlemen we met, he said, yeah, that's the stump right over there. He said, you're in the spot. I'm like, oh, wow, really? Just kind of going on with them. And so they said they were out there trying to do research, and they're going to head to certain areas during the night and stay. And we're like, so are you hiking or you looking for Bigfoot? And they said, well, we're actually, looking for these creatures. And I was like, no, not really, right? And the more we talked, they actually showed played some audio for us that they had gathered out there, and some pictures, some thermal video, and it was kind of mind-blowing, actually. It was like, no, you're not, this is, could this really be? And, we talked to them a little bit, and we went on. And over the next few weeks, I really thought about it a lot. I was like, these guys were like professional people who seemed, they were serious. They really think there's something going on out there. And I'm like, could that be? Could that really be? And I'm like, no. And so I went back and forth, and I finally got in touch with those guys, and because they had invited me to come out. I said, well, if you doubt us, you're invited anytime you want to come with us, So I started doing that. Went out with them a few times, and it was camping, basically, a little bit of hiking. I'd never been in the woods at night. We hiked the woods at night, which I found a little bit bizarre, but it was kind of fun. And just went from there. Because of my schedule, Kyle kind of worked together. I was able to go out there a lot. It's about an hour and a half drive from home to that spot, so it's not too bad. And the more time we spent, the more things, little pieces of the puzzle started to fall together, and it was like, can this be true? And the more we looked and the more time we spent, I'll say one thing, we did spend a lot of time out there. So I think that was one key part of it. I don't think you're just going to go now and then and find, anything, But, I will admit that just to people who are not aware or into it, it probably does seem like a joke. I've caught some ridicule from some people, but mostly it's in fun. You know, we all enjoy being out there. The more we were going out, my wife Susan and I, we really were, once we had initially made contact with those folks, we kind of drifted away from them, and she's a teacher, so she had the summer off. This was summer of 2013. I was self-employed, so we would go during the week a lot for a night or two, and put out audio recorders, and I had Sony cameras at that time, the little night vision cameras, which really are not good at all, but that's all we had at the time. So online, especially on Facebook, I think somebody turned me on to one guy, and then you start talking to people. It was mostly Facebook, I'll say, and there are groups on there who they do their own, you know, research, and basically what that is trying to gather audio, video. We now have thermal video cameras, and just kind of that led to a network of people. One guy in particular early on was in Pennsylvania. His name was Tommy Cooper, and we shared things that I found, and he's in Northwest Pennsylvania, and it was like very similar to the things we were getting, and then he has a group there in his state, or that part of the country actually, of you know, he introduces you to this guy, or you talk to that guy, and he'll tell you about his experience, and he'll tell you about his. That has led to, we have people we talk to regularly, and we've visited Alabama, Tommy Cooper and his group, Cryptovania, and Pennsylvania. We haven't been to Canada, but we have a friend from Canada who's come down, who she has a lot of the same things, a lot of the same experiences. So we've gone from Alabama to Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, of course North Carolina where we are, to Pennsylvania, and we're all kind of getting similar results. But it is just very interesting to think that this could actually, that these creatures are there. And I started in 2013, going just about every week, which was like 40 trips a year. And then in 2015, again online, I ran into a fellow, and we talked about, you know, he had similar interests. He had never really been out at that time. And so he was going to go with me one weekend. So I said, okay, I guess now where are you? And he said, I live in Mount Holly. I was like, well, that's where I live. I knew he was like in the Charlotte area, I guess, but come to find out, we live about 1.5 miles from each other. So that helped with the convenience. And so he and I got together and started going basically every Friday. That's just what we did after work, meet up. And it was almost like, not almost like, I guess it was or is an obsession, because you get just enough interesting things to happen to keep you going back. Most of the time nothing happens, but it's fun being out in the woods and camping, hiking, whatever. So Dwight and I, we were talking about things online, so we decided to start our own group, which is Dirty South Squatching. And that led to, you know, even more networking, and we have friends in Hickory, Franklin, North Carolina, even from Greensboro to almost, you know, Virginia line in our group, or we have the people from Alabama to Pennsylvania also, you know, in our group, and we are part of their groups. We just all network back and forth. And a lot of people are interested but don't have a lot of time, or don't want to spend the time to be out in the woods, or scared to be in the woods at night or whatever. So that was from Alabama, just seeing different places. Camping, we went to Pennsylvania. Tommy Cooper, his group, he has a Roku, a channel on Roku that we did an interview or a couple interviews with him, and actually got to spend some time out in the woods with them. We've done podcasts, the people in Canada. Robin Moonshadow is her name. Her and Dwight have a podcast they call Strange and Dirty. So she has kind of a mixture of the two. She researches in Canada. She's come down here to visit us several times. We've also done He Said, She Said, which is a video podcast, I guess you would call it, from Sasquatchers. They're out of Minnesota, right around Minneapolis, and that was just last week. And it was very interesting to talk to somebody I've never talked to about it, but I knew of her, or those ladies, and they have a lot of the same, a common theme of things that they see and record, and so it's really been a long, strange trip, because I've gone out, obviously to other states with other groups. There was a group from Georgia that I went out with. Okay, so these particular folks are the leader of their group is, I'm just going to kind of give you an overview of what's going on. Ex-military, ex-intelligence type folks. And they have been they're into remote viewing. So, there's a couple I learned a lot about that week. The different types of remote viewing, and what they do is hypnotic remote viewing. And that was rather eye-opening. I had seen documentaries on that, but these guys, that was very, very, very interesting few days. It's very strange. And that's the other part of this. I think the most important thing about this is, to me, are the actual experiences that we've had in the woods with different things. It's almost like a rush. It's like playing golf. You hit just enough good shots to keep you coming back. But most of the time, you don't really get anything. So you better enjoy being in the woods, or who you're going out with, for this to work for you. Well, like I said, the biggest thing are the experiences that we've had. Crazy. We've actually had sightings. We've gotten audio that is unexplainable for what is supposed to be there. That's the biggest thing. That's at the core of it. But one thing that I didn't think that, or realize would happen, is like what we just talked about, is all of the different people that you meet. We've met people from all walks of life, from one end of the spectrum to the other. Some of the more interesting ones are ex-military, intelligent type folks that are really, they're as serious about this as we are. And in summary, I'll say this. It started out as a curiosity that we put enough time into, that's turned into something very tangible. We've met a lot of great folks from, like I said, from all walks of life. A lot of road trips. And one thing that I haven't really touched on that's big for me is the the technical side of it. We have developed an audio recorder. You know, what you just have, what most people have, is just a little audio recorder that'll last a day or 2 days. So we got tired of going back and forth and changing the card and the batteries every couple of days. I developed a recorder that will last for 15 days, 24/7 recording. We just added some power to it and made it bear-proof. And that was a fun development because everybody seemed to enjoy that. Like, oh, that, you know. But the people that we've met, the trips we've taken, and also realizing that there's a lot more to this life than most people think, or we've been taught to think.